Welcome to the Hemlock State Explorer. Today we are in Stony Valley exploring the Summit Siding Trail. This is a place near and dear to us. We've been to the Stony Valley, also known as St. Anthony's Wilderness, many times and have only seen a fraction of what this area has to offer. It is a veritable outdoor adventure playground. There are many trails through here, many trailheads and parking options. I'm going to pan around for you. We're taking the Gold Mine Trail, which begins at this gate off of Gold Mine Road, and then we'll head uphill to the Summit Siding Rail Trail, which was an old railroad grade heading through the valley to the abandoned coal mining town of Roush Gap. We chose to park down at the Stony Valley Rail Trail parking lot, a huge parking lot to the very popular and excellent secluded feeling rail trail. You could park at the Gold Mine Road gate that we just showed you, but there's not much room and we didn't want to block the gate. There are also pull-offs and parking areas further up the mountain with trails leading to the same spot we're heading. You could also park further up at the Boxcar Rocks parking area. Stony Valley is located in the striated ridges and valleys region of Pennsylvania, just north of Lebanon and east of Harrisburg. This special region of Pennsylvania consists of a series of striated mountain ridges and valleys, one after another in parallel, creating a feel of seclusion, even though it's not too far outside of southeastern Pennsylvania. From what I've read, European settlement of this region began with Moravian missionaries to the native tribes, and as you'll see in our journey, the area is completely non-conducive to any kind of agriculture, hence the name Stony Valley. Later, coal mining operations were conducted, which were spurred by the development of railroads and canals through the area. However, the coal in the Stony Valley region in particular was generally low quality, and it was never economically feasible. Therefore, you can find the remains of old abandoned coal mining villages such as Roush Gap and Yellow Springs. One of the things we love about this area is you never know what you're going to find in the woods. After a short walk up the gradual grade of the Gold Mine Trail, we've encountered the Summit Siding Trail. You can see the ruins of a retaining wall there and an old railroad grade up above. And if we peek out between the trees, you can clearly see the embankment of the Summit Siding Rail Trail, the little sister to the Stony Valley Rail Trail below us. Oh yeah, here's a better view of the old retaining wall. So we're turning off of the Gold Mine Trail, and I've often wondered, traveling up here, how the Gold Mine Road and Gold Mine Trail got its name, whether there are actually gold mines here. We've encountered tons of mines. To my knowledge, they're only for coal, but I haven't done the research yet to determine if there were actually gold mines. Okay, so you can begin to see now why this is called Stony Valley. I hear some water up ahead, very close to us. That's exciting. Let me just take a moment to let you know that we are actually really in the flesh, present in the Stony Valley. This is not AI generated, no AI slop here at the Hemlock State Explorer. We are sharing the adventures that we love with you in real time. The ineloquent speech and low-tech videography is evidence of that, but nonetheless, we want to give you the real deal at the Hemlock State Explorer. And here's that water that we heard. Oh, cool. Well, this is a great find. Let me come around here so you can see better. Okay, here's the abutment of the railroad bridge that would have crossed over here. Oh, very cool. Let's take a look upstream before continuing to see these cascades. Ah, that's nice. We're standing on the old rail bed at the top of the bridge looking down. Look at that stonework, how those stones are fit together. Quite high. The rocks are wet and slippery, so be careful here if you visit in conditions that aren't dry. There's where we crossed, and you can see the cascades. Wow, we are just 15 minutes into this adventure, and already it's proving to be fun and fruitful. We'll head back on the Summit Sodding Trail and see what other gems are hidden in these woods. This is a good indication of what the trail has been like so far, and we'll turn left. We get a semi-clear view of the mountain beyond on account of that dead hemlock. So this whole time we've been enjoying the beautiful views of the mountains. And before I turn away, this is why they call it Stony Valley, in case you haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, hiking through the valley itself can be pretty challenging on account of those boulders. But anyway, you really could ride a bike on here, it looks like, except for there have been multiple fallen logs. And by the looks of this one, it's been here for quite a while, indicating people probably typically don't ride bikes here. But you could if you're okay with stopping periodically and carrying your bike over all these logs. There are carved out sections of the railroad behind us. I don't know what they would have been for, probably for buildings along the side of the railroad. Yeah, here's a view of the valley again and the beautiful mountains beyond. But this is what the trail generally looks like. You can see how easy it is, and we're moving rapidly. We're approaching Roush Gap, and we found this trail that isn't marked on the map, so we'll share it with you. It's a cross trail from Second Mountain, that's the mountain ahead of us to the south. And if we zoom in, you can see the Stony Valley Rail Trail right at the bottom of the valley. So this trail extends from Second Mountain, it looks like, possibly, but at the very least from the Stony Valley Rail Trail all the way up to the mountain to our north, Sharp Mountain. So we'll need to explore that trail up to Sharp Mountain. I wasn't aware that it was there, and it's also a shortcut if you want to come to the Summit Sodding Trail directly from the Stony Valley Rail Trail. But I guess not too much of a shortcut, because we're going to meet up with the Stony Valley Rail Trail just up ahead at Roush Gap. And of course you can find all the trails and waypoints and everything else you need to know before you go at our website, hemlockstateexplorer.com. Well, here we are, Roush Gap. You can see the nether remains of a bridge. Again, look at that amazing stonework, those massive stones, now little more than a pile of rubble. Here's Roush Creek that passes through the gap between Sharp Mountain, and if you look closely you can find bits of coal scattered all throughout. The town of Roush Gap proper, or what remains of the town, is about 3/10 of a mile behind us downstream, but the trail we'll be taking heads up through the gap and then loops around Sharp Mountain. Looks like we might have some cascades up ahead. Wasn't expecting that. Again, more of an explanation of why this is called Stony Valley. There's a lot you can find back in here. Old foundations, pit mines, lots of mines. There's a cemetery down by the town of Roush Gap and a beaver dam. I wonder if that was something that's just a pile of stones, or if that's masonry. To imagine this was once a large operation. I believe 2,000 or 3,000 people lived in Roush Gap at its peak. I did some research on that a while ago, but don't quite remember. But I'll put all that information for you at hemlockstateexplorer.com. Trying to be very careful as we step on these wet rocks to get a view of this cascade. Oh, these are very slippery. Oh, looks like we have some drill marks in the rocks. Well, here's the cascade. Not much to see on account of those large boulders, but it's the nicest cascade that we've seen. And if I can turn around without falling, there you see the ruins of the bridge. Very cool area. The Appalachian Trail passes up that way. There's another trail that passes that way. I see an orange blaze. Appalachian Trail is always blazed white by convention. So that's not the Appalachian Trail. It passes down behind us further. There's another orange blaze up ahead. But there are many trails running through here, which is one of the reasons that we love Stony Valley. So much to explore. Just upstream through Roush Gap, we encountered more cascades. Again, I wouldn't call it a waterfall, but we'll take it nonetheless. Praise the Lord. Roush Creek has had cascades galore, and we finally found a legit waterfall. We'll mark the coordinates at hemlockstateexplorer.com. As a public service announcement, don't drink the water anywhere in the area because the streams and springs are still heavily polluted from the mining operations, even all these decades later. The bed of this stream is literally orange in color. We followed Roush Creek to this orange blaze trail. Here there's coal everywhere, coal piles, pieces of coal. We just passed the heavily polluted orange water. Maybe the trail is blazed that color because of the water. This is actually not too far off that terrible looking water. But at any rate, we'll take this trail northeast back in the direction of Gold Mine Road, and we can't wait to see what adventures and hidden treasures lie in the woods. Well, that was cool. One of the bonuses about hiking the Stony Valley region is we have Fort Indiantown Gap nearby, just a few miles away. And if you're lucky, you'll get to see things like that. Military aircraft doing exercises. I saw some A-10 warthogs a couple months ago. Man, they were moving so fast. I tried to get a video of them, but just wasn't quick enough. And we had a lot of foliage overhead, which didn't help. Sometimes you'll hear small arms fire, but the best of all is when they shoot off the artillery. You can literally feel the shock waves through the air from miles away. You hear it, and then you also feel it. It's a tremendous experience. Of course, it's easy to say that in the safety of hiking, but if you were on the receiving end of that during hostilities, well, that would be a very different story. Now, I don't know where the aircraft come from, whether they're from Fort Indiantown Gap or one of the other local bases in the Harrisburg area, but if you have knowledge of that sort of thing, please share it with us in the comments. Oh, here's another one. Okay, anyway, I wasn't planning for that. I just wanted to point out to you the cross trail coming down from Sharp Mountain, and it looks like it descends down into Clark's Valley below. But we'll continue on the trail on the north side of Sharp Mountain, and you can see, of course, this side would be icier, but it looks like the trail passes all the way to the top of Sharp Mountain and then back down. Looks like we're passing through a logged area. I see some movement up ahead. Wonder if that's deer or squirrels. Whatever it was moving quickly. All right, we'll continue on this trail, keeping our eyes open for the adventures of Stony Valley. Correction to what I just said. This was not a logged area. Well, it was at one time. In fact, most of Pennsylvania has been logged multiple times. But most recently, this is a prescribed burn area. We'll have to make our way on that trail up over Sharp Mountain another time. There are just so many trails and paths through this area, so much to explore. We love it. The walk on the north side of the mountain has actually been easier, other than the ice, than the rail trail, because the north side is a road that's kept clear, whereas the rail trail, although it's level and flat, well, it looks like we have a trail up there to explore. We'll add that to our to-do list. Anyway, the rail trail was more level and more flat than this trail, but there were multiple places where it was blocked with trees, and then there were some low spots that got quite swampy, and we actually had to climb up off of the rail trail and progress along the embankment. But at any rate, it's been a pleasant hike. We are now entering the woods. We were in the prescribed burn area where it was mostly grasses and scrub brush, but now we're entering into a piney wood section. I just love the smell of the pines and the verdant color in the winter time. Now, as you saw, we just passed some mounds and it looked like a mine. Let's go check out the mine. That was what I think was filled in with water up ahead. I got too busy talking. I saw it, but it didn't really register that I should go explore it. Can only do one thing at a time. Okay, well, here it is. Let's go take a looky. So I'm assuming this is a pit mine that's been filled in with water. Well, it's cool to see, but doesn't look like we'll find much on account of being filled with water. But I am interested to come back and take that trail up over the top of the mountain that we just passed a moment ago. There are tons of mines around here. Some of them are very cool. That was nothing to write home about. But here's what does get me excited. The road we've been traveling on proceeds that direction, but the path back to the gold mine trail passes through this glorious pine stand. This is enough to get me. So it's amazing how such simple things can make you so happy. This just made my day. If everything else we saw wasn't enough. What a glorious green and yet dark pine stand. Well, you're missing out watching this on your device or your computer, because you just fill your nose with that glorious pine scent. So happy to be here. Thank the Lord. But up to our right is another trail that heads up the hill. Can't wait to check that out on a future exploration. But if this isn't enough, come on, get out here yourself and enjoy this. We've returned to Gold Mine Run near the Gold Mine Trail where we started, and here are ruins of, what would this be? A dam, maybe? I see the wall on the other side, so I'm guessing this is a dam. We take a closer look, it's clear that Gold Mine Run is terribly polluted. Well, we need to cross here. There's a crossing down there, or at least that's where the trail leads. There's a trail that leads here to another crossing. This looks like our best bet. Normally this would be no problem whatsoever, but all of the rocks we've encountered today have been wet and slippery. Well, what a fun half-day hike. We've returned to the Summit Siding Rail Trail, which you see off to your right. And we're on the Gold Mine Trail, and it's just a short walk to the Trailhead. If you found this at all enjoyable or profitable, please like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to check out the full adventure at hemlockstateexplorer.com, where you can find all of our other excursions and everything you need to know before you go. And until next time, we can't wait to see you on the next adventure.